It's Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 at 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the annual town meeting to order. It's posted on the website and at the town hall. You can stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda presentation.
Reminder that this is an electors meeting.
It's a reminder that this is an electors meeting.
And they should sign it.
That means any elector can make and second motions and things tonight.
Yep.
For this portion.
Approval of the minutes from April 20th, 2021 annual town meeting.
So when an elector makes a motion, please state your name so I know who made the motion, and then whoever seconded it, please state your name as well for the record.
I so move to approve the, Steve Nance, N5692 County A, I so move to approve the annual meeting minutes of 2021.
Can we get a second?
The minutes are in your packets, if you grabbed an agenda out front there.
Zeus Lawson in 6453 Sherwood Mills Drive, I second it.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. That's unanimous. Minutes approved. Set date for 2023 annual town meeting. Right now, I think that's slated as the third Tuesday, April 18th, 2023.
Oop, I missed the 3 on there, sorry.
Need a motion?
Can we get a motion? Yep.
I so move to set the date, April 18th, 2023, for the next town annual meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Approve the annual town meeting in 2023 for April 18th. Annual financial report.
All right, in your packets, you'll see this information here. The first page is the total of the expenditures. I'm gonna keep it simple because we have a long night here. There's also different pie charts that explains where the expenditures are going to. On the next page is the revenue. And then on the final page, it has a sample of your tax bill and how it's broken up between your taxes that are going to the town, to the different school districts, to Madison College, the county, and then the state doesn't have any. And then as well as another pie chart to kind of visualize some of that as well. Anybody have, any questions or anything? I know it's a lot to look at all at once.
Do you have to approve this?
I don't think so, but if you feel like you want to, I don't think it's a big deal if you do.
No.
Is there any elector discussion? Questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay. The annual police report.
All right, I'm Sergeant Miller. I will give the annual police report as far as the patrol goes. Does not include anything with the boat patrol on the lake. I just want to make that clear. Starting off hours this year on regular patrol, again, that just active patrol is 532 hours. Total number of complaints handled during that year is 56. 65 hours of that time was spent on those complaints. Total number of arrests, there's 4. Total number of crashes handles 3. Traffic stops, we had 186 traffic stops. 10 repair notices, 68 warnings. Total number of citations, 141 traffic citations. Spent approximately 128 hours running radar speeding enforcement. 15 ordinance citations were issued. 134 residence checks. 203 park checks, those are all the parks in the township we check. And 37 extra patrols. For the boat annual, Sergeant Walters has that.
Okay, so we had 4 officers that worked the lake last year, including myself and Sergeant Miller. We had 381.5 hours boat patrol worked. Of that, we were on the water for 314.5 hours. We had 19 citations that were issued and 21 written warnings that were issued. Conducted 22 safety inspections. We assisted 9 vessels. And we have the 2 boats, our boat and our PWC.
That should be.
Thanks, Sergeant Miller. Thanks, Sergeant Walters. Any questions for law enforcement and the electors? Okay. New business, discussion and or decision of wages for clerk and treasurer's positions. Open the floor for discussion. I think this is an every 2-year, do you want to shed background on the every 2-year thing?
We can, when we're elected, we can't raise salaries for ourselves, so this would go to the new election, which is April of 2023. So that's, whatever you decide on tonight would be the wage increase or whatever for the clerk and treasurer for after the next election. In 2021, after I think the last, I can't remember when your last, prior to 2021, I think it was 2014 or something.
Yeah, it was
Since you were given a raise.
2010.
2010. So then in 2021, their salaries were increased 15% by the electors. And currently, the clerk's salary is $24,725, and the treasurer's is $13,800.
Correct.
So this would be kind of a cost of living increase for 22, 23, 2 years, if you're looking at it like that. And I think the government, Social Security got 5.9% last year, so cost of living.
Yeah.
And I think it's projected to be 7.6 for 2023, but that's just a big guess. So it's up to the electors if you want to increase the salary of those positions. The supervisors aren't asking for any increases. And I don't know if Tom's going to.
No.
So,
I did provide you, I had used this document last time we asked for an increase for the positions, of all the things that, between what the clerk does and what the treasurer does, because I think a lot of electors don't know what our tasks are. So it kind of helps you guys understand what we do when you call us up and all the different various things. There's quite a bit. At the end, and I apologize that Sharon and I, we're trying to work together, and did you want to add the things that have been increased since the last time we discussed this? Those few things?
It's just keeping track of the government money, that recovery funds, and I've been keeping track of the Crossman Road project, and plus all the boat launches, and there's just more business.
More business up. At the end of the list, on the listing I put for the clerk, I had the new things I could think of off the top of my head, which is, the coronavirus funding opportunities, helping with that, the infrastructure funding for roads and federal grants. We've started up the Parks Committee, which adds more task work for getting agendas, assisting with the agenda preparation and distributing information, postings and recordings, as well as the Town Hall Facilities Committee, which we're trying to get going. And then onboard packets, which is something we recently created to make sure when new committee members or commission members or even town board members are coming on board, they kind of get the same information to start with about open meeting laws, record keeping and ethics and all that kind of same stuff. So just some more basic tasks.
I'll add in that the environment has been very complicated in the last year and a half or since COVID started, especially when we're dealing with items that are coming out of the federal government, where they tend to have the cart way in front of the horse. And they're inventing things as time goes on. So it adds a tremendous amount of work to sift through all the paperwork and get to where we need to be. So that's the comment I'm going to make. That the workload has definitely increased, just in my short time here.
Is there any recommendation from the town board that they have in mind for the raises for those two positions?
Last time you had done 15%.
Yeah, that was in 2020.
Right.
But that was
kind
for,
kind of a catch-up.
yeah, that was a big
From
catch.
Big catch-up.
I don't know.
I can tell you, I put a lot of hours in. I put a lot of hours in. I know Sharon does too, especially during the summer with the boat launches, which is something our town is unique for. That's not something a normal treasurer in another community would have. So it's above and beyond statutory.
An 8% raise would be $2,000 for the clerk.
And 1,500 for Sharon.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking
Is
too.
it 15? Okay.
And we're looking at that right now is just current inflation and price increases. So, I mean, that's what's happening right now. And it's probably going to continue for a while.
I don't see our jobs getting any easier.
Probably won't. Not this year. It's still going to
No,
be complicated.
not for a while at least.
Robin, did you have any suggestions?
I mean, if you calculate I average easily 40 hours a week. I mean, it's a full-time job, just so people understand that. There's evenings I'm working on things, whether it's meetings or weekends, if you have to catch up, elections suck a lot of time. If you look at the wages, does that reflect a full-time position? No. Granted, it's elected position and such, but I think there's got to be a balance between what's reasonable and, for the work we do. Otherwise, work has to get streamlined and simplified.
Mhm.
And so my time is very valuable, so. yeah,
That's
I'm
going to
sure
be difficult to do in the next year, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for a
Okay.
fact.
At a 40-hour work week, which I'm sure she does, Robin does, that's $12 an hour with the $2,000 raise. So,
It's a good perspective.
I know the deputy clerk that they just hired at the city, granted it's a deputy and it's at the city, I believe she's full-time, and they started her, I think, over $20 an hour. I think it possibly was even listed at 25 per hour, just so you have an idea. So, I like the work I do, but we have to look at what the position is, because whether I'm here or somebody else steps in, the same person still has to do the same tasks. So it doesn't
Right.
just go away with me if I were not here.
I would recommend at least 10% to get over the inflationary gap a little bit.
See, that'd bring Robin up to 27,197. So it'd be $2,472 a year.
I'll make that motion for 10% raise for discussion purposes.
For both of them, Steve?
Both of them, yes.
Okay.
so second.
We need a second.
I'll get second on Prater.
Any discussion? amongst the electors? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Approve the wage increase.
Thank
And then that goes into effect 2023.
Correct.
2023.
After the April, yeah, the
10%
election.
vote, yeah, okay.
Announcements.
Well, is there any other new business?
Yeah.
Anything, they have an opportunity,
Yep.
if any elector has
Wants
something
to
they
talk
want to
about.
bring up, they can do that at this time.
Pretty quiet group tonight. Okay, announcements.
Don't have any.
I don't have any.
No, nothing.
Well, I'll make one. We are looking for members to serve on the Town Facilities Committee. That's a committee that's going to look into building a new town hall. Look at purchasing land, things like that. So we haven't got that committee off going yet because we don't have
We need
anybody that stepped forward.
2 more people.
Yeah.
2 to 3 more people.
Yep.
Is what we're looking at, I think.
We did hire an architectural firm a couple of years ago, HSR, and they did a study for us. So we've gotten a little ways along, but we need a committee to look for land and things like that, so. So if anybody's interested, contact Robin or Tom. That's all I have.
Any other announcements? Can we get a motion to adjourn the annual meeting?
I so move.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned. It is 7:17, Tuesday, April 19th, and I'd like to call the special meeting of the electors to order. Meeting notice is posted at the town hall and on the town website.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Now, again, this is a meeting of the electors, so.
Yep.
Discussion by the town electors for adoption of resolution as noticed below. Read, notice is hereby given to the special town meeting of the electors of the town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, will be held at Town Hall on April 19th, 2022. We're all here. It is to consider the adoption of a resolution by the electors of the town meeting endorsing a town board resolution which proposes that the town levy exceed the state allowable levy limit under Wisconsin statute 66.0602, specifically a proposed tax levy which would exceed allowable town tax levy for 2022 before adjustments by 43.67% for a dollar increase of $200,000. The increase of $200,000 is to be added to the tax levy to be used for highway purposes only. To approve the 2022 total town tax levy to be collected in 23 pursuant to Wisconsin 60.101A. What's that?
That's
Yep.
as far as we go.
Yep.
And there should be a copy of the resolution, I believe, in the packets. I'm hoping I got that in there.
And just so you're aware, I think it was currently $150,000.
Correct,
So that increase that's listed on here doesn't exactly tell the whole story, so.
And Tom is right, because it looks a little scary when you see 46.7%. But we already had prior approval for that $150,000 a year, which added about $20 per $1,000 of evaluation.
So what the 200,000 would do would be, I think it's 10 more bucks. So it's like $30 per 100,000, I believe. That's what it figures out to be.
Total.
Total, yeah.
But $10 additional to go from 150 that you already have been taxed for since 2015. So like Dave said, it would be another $10.72 per $100,000 of value to go to 200,000.
Yep.
You all know cost of roads and everything getting real expensive. In the past, since 2015, they've been doing the $150,000 to cover money that they borrowed on a 2-year basis. And of course, you pay interest on that money. This way, you could bank it, $200,000 for a couple years, and then not pay any interest on that. You wouldn't have to borrow that money, and then you could use it for roads. Could build it up. The way the environment is now, or the situation with towns, there are so many. I think the only way towns are going to be able to do roads is by applying for grants, and which is a huge benefit. That if we could apply for a grant and then have 400,000 sitting there to apply towards that and get a 20-80 split with the state or something, you get a lot more benefit for your money doing it that way. And I think that's the way it's going to end up going.
Yeah, I 100% agree. In fact, we just had one grant approved, and we've got another one that we'll be applying for in the BIL Phase 2, which is the infrastructure bill, which is an 80-20. And we don't get any of our roads fixed when we have to take a loan out and pay a bunch of interest. It's just money that you won't see in your roads. We're just paying it out. We're not getting anything back for it. And in just a little bit of background, we actually had our town engineer draw up our road ratings this year. So we had it done by a professional. It hadn't been done in 2019. It's supposed to be done every 2 years. We were really worried about consistency because none of us obviously are road experts. And I think that figure came in, if we had to, redo every road tomorrow, it would cost the town $17 million. And just the 2 grants that we applied for, we are going to apply for this next one. Mud Lake Road is coming in close to $1 million to redo that road. This plan has given us the ability to really skillfully use the elector's money, the town residents' money, to the best of our ability, to be able to save up, do the minimum maintenance that we need to do according to our new road plan, which was done by a professional, and it's a 5-year plan, and be able to save up so we don't have to take loans out. And if we can do that, that's huge.
And I think the interest on our loans average probably $30,000 to $35,000 every time we're taking out like $300,000 in a loan, so.
Yeah, usually around 17,000 a year or so.
Right.
The other thing is the environment has changed a little bit, because when we first started this back in, what was it? 2015, the only way that we were allowed to assess the taxes were to pay down borrowed money. Now we can earmark and collect up front, so we don't have to lose that $17,000, $18,000 a year in interest.
So it may seem like a lot of money, but I think, we do have a good plan in place. And we also have to pay off $158,000 next year on a current loan for Airport Road. We still have a 3rd year on that. So out of that 200,000, 158 is going to vanquish out of that immediately, which doesn't leave a whole lot, there for saving up or using for other road maintenance. But we want to get back to a schedule where we can utilize the elector's money to the best of our ability without having to take out loans, you know, unless it's an absolute emergency.
What does that mean before adjustments? Does that mean that the cost will go up or down for the levy, or what does before adjustments mean?
The levy percentage, without that 150 that we've been doing before, or the 200,000, is adjusted each year based on 2% increase that we're allowed. That's the fluctuating one. This would be a standalone in addition to that levy amount. That would be 200,000 instead of the 150,000 that we've been doing.
And that adjustment comes directly from the Department of Revenue. They tell us what that is.
Right.
It's based on what your new construction, cost of new construction in the town and things like that, so.
Yeah.
We have no control over that. They tell us what,
We have to do.
And then we try to get our budget to fit within that realm. Yeah.
The other thing, if you guys would be so kind to approve a $200,000 for road purposes only, it helps keep your taxes, as far as road repair, constant. We don't have big expense, nothing, big expense, nothing. So hopefully the idea behind it is, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt real bad.
Can I address the committee?
Absolutely.
Do you want us to know the speaker, or can everybody hear?
Damien, can you hear speakers?
I just want to address this fact, and you did a little research for you, just so the electors of Lake Mills know what's going on elsewhere. Town of Koshkonong, for 5 years straight, borrowed $500,000 for their roads. Last year, they borrowed $1.5 million for their roads. Town of Jefferson has borrowed $450,000 a year for their roads. That just goes to show you how far behind we are in getting our roads fixed. And I absolutely support this. Now, if you want to see what happens when you don't do it, drive down to the township of Sumner and make sure that you go with a four-wheel drive, because it's horrible. You know, I was recently down there and I thought I'd break an axle in my truck. It was really bad. So I think, you know, we hate it, but we like to drive, and we got to keep our roads together. And I'd rather see them do what they're doing up front than continue to have to borrow so much money like these other townships have had to do. I think it's a good plan. And I don't think it's excessive at all.
I think it's a good plan also. I know at one point Road was knocked off the roster last year because of lack of money. So if I vote for this, maybe at one point Road gets self-motivation here.
You want to explain this annually? This is.
yeah, this,
Yeah, this will have to be approved annually. So that's the right way to do it, to be 100% transparent to the electors, that this money would be, you know, a lump sum of money would be approved every year.
and the electors also have an opportunity to change that figure. I mean, you could give us 300,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But
Jim,
you
no
could
more but
also,
up.
you could also go down. So, just to be upfront and fair.
Yep.
You could make that number whatever you want it to be, and then the town would have to pass a new resolution and do this whole process again, but we're just asking for the 50,000 increase, basically.
Yep. Correct.
Someone has to make a motion.
Yeah.
Yep, can we get a motion?
Do you feel like we need to reread this full resolution to do it correctly? You read most of it when you were reading the agenda item, but a resolution really should be read fully.
And that's starting at bullet point 1, correct? Or do you want me to go all the way up?
The whole thing. Want me to read it?
Yeah,
Maybe
go
the
ahead.
first part, I'll read it.
Sorry, it's right
These
here.
3 for you?
I got it, I found
Got
it.
it?
You found it?
I think that's the right one. Resolution by the town electors to endorse the town board's resolution to exceed the levy limit. Town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, resolution number 2022-0419. Whereas the state of Wisconsin has imposed levy limits on the town tax levies for 2022 and thereafter under Wisconsin statute 66.0602. Whereas Wisconsin statute 66.0602 parentheses 5, allows a town, electors in a town with a population of less than 3,000 to exceed the maximum allowing levy limit by adoption of a resolution at a town meeting of the town electors. Whereas the town board has adopted a resolution supporting an increase in the town tax levy, which would exceed the maximum allowable state levy limit for the town of Lake Mills. Whereas a special town meeting of the town of electors has been called and properly noticed to consider the adoption of a resolution to endorse a town board resolution to exceed the state's levy limits, specifically by increasing the allowable town tax levy for 2022 to be collected in 2023 by 43.67%. Therefore, the special town meeting of the town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, by a majority vote of the eligible electors duly assembled and voting on this day, 19th day of April 2022, hereby resolves and orders as follows. The town electors of the town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, endorse a town board resolution to increase the town tax levy for 2022 to be collected in 23 by 43.67% of the allowable 2022 levy, which is a dollar increase of $200,000 over the allowable 2022 town tax levy. The increase of $200,000 is to be added to the tax levy, and the $200,000 increase is to be used for highway purposes only. The town clerk shall properly post or publish this resolution as required by law under Wisconsin statute 60.8-1A within 30 days after its adoption.
Okay, now when we go into the voting part, I will have to have the number of ayes versus the number of nays, so keep your hands up so we can count.
Electors only.
Electors only, please. And if there's anyone abstaining, we kind of have to have a determination on that, so. We need a
motion.
need a motion to resolve.
Yes, I make a motion to approve the proposed levy to, I don't make a lot of motions.
Oh, just the resolution.
Right.
Just a resolution.
I support the resolution.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
So, and all in favor, when he calls the question, raise your hand, okay?
Okay, all in favor of the town electors, say aye.
Aye. Guys, you vote too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Anybody else in the back beyond Tricia and the white stripe? Nope. Okay, anyone,
All town electors, any town
Opposed?
electors that,
anybody opposed?
yeah, anybody opposed,
0.
vote nay.
All right.
Okay, motion passes.
Finish
No,
the question.
number abstaining,
0.
motion is approved
Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you.
How many people? It was 5 of us.
So we just need to adjourn, right?
I think
Yes.
so, I think we're done with 4 or 5.
The other two are.
Yep, yep, that was in the resolution. Can we get a motion to adjourn the special meeting of electors?
I'll make a motion to adjourn special meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, in the same sign. Meeting adjourned, special meeting of the electors. Order here. Okay. It's Tuesday, April 19th, 7:34 PM, and I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills Town Board regular meeting to order. Notice is posted at the town hall and on the town website.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to adopt tonight's agenda.
Make a motion to approve March 8th board meeting minutes.
Wait
Second.
a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the minutes. Approval of the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the April 2022 treasurer's report.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the treasurer's report. Approval of the town board expense sheets.
Maybe I have several here. Let's see, we got Robin Untz, $685.86. She paid for two condos, applications to the DNR to fill in the holes at the launches, the two launches. $300 each.
Correct.
So, okay. An expense sheet from me for $60 for the Towns Association Board of Review certification class. And then for Sharon Ginnerberg, $162.39.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the town board expense sheets. Approval of the general fund vouching.
Make a motion to approve April's disbursements of $103,130.41.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Palin Dolan, Crossman Road project, $29,001.84. What was lagging in that project?
I had asked that question too, why and Corey did say we should approve it, they finalized the project.
Yep.
I asked him to send an invoice, which he did have them send it via email. Sharon will
There
take
was
it out
money
there.
being held back for something until the job was completely
Right.
finished, or 5% or something goofy like that.
Oh.
And here's another.
That was the
Yeah, this is the, I'm gonna take a look at those.
retainage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was retainage is what it was.
But Corey did say we do owe that, yeah,
Yep.
so,
Yep.
for the final
He
stuff.
said that's normal.
Oh, okay.
Is that the final?
That should be the final, correct?
Yeah, I think so. That was other than the guardrail, which we got to deal
Right,
with.
yeah.
Anything with,
Then we did have funds in the Crossman Road,
Yeah, 68,000.
Yes,
right,
right,
so
yeah.
we were able to take it out of there, yeah.
Yeah.
There's approximately 37 or 80, about 38,000 left. in
No,
that-
after that.
in that account.
What was that, Sharon?
There's about 37 or 38,000 left in the Crossman Road project.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
you good?
That's it.
Can we get a motion to approve the general fund vouching?
We did it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we just
sorry.
gotta call the
Oh,
question.
sorry, we called
Yeah.
second, my bad.
Yep, yep,
Sorry,
sorry.
Blake. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the general fund vouching. Reports, police report.
All right, as for the month of March, and this is only road patrol, not any administrative duties, but total hours of patrol time 88. Number of complaints handled was 6. Total time spent on those complaints was 8.5 hours. No arrests were made. Total number of crashes, 0. Traffic stops were 30. 1 repair notice, 13 traffic warnings, 17 traffic tickets. Time spent running speeding enforcement radar, 26 hours. 1 municipal citation was issued. 36 residential checks were done, 50 park checks. And 4 ex-patrols were handled.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant Miller. Plan Commission report, Jim.
We had 2 applications, one for a building placement for a lien, and that does not come before the town board. That was approved. That was an agricultural building. And we also had the petition application from Wayne and Donna Martin for a farm consolidation of 5 acres, which was passed. That's it.
Excellent, thanks, Jim. Cambridge Fire and EMS report, Dave.
We had to cancel our meeting due to the town of Oakland had 2 new board members. The village of Cambridge has 1 for sure and they may have had two, I'm not really quite sure, but I know they had one. So we have to wait till, those guys are gonna be sworn in tonight, so our meeting is not scheduled yet for the, it's probably gonna be next week, I'm thinking. And as far as the referendum passed in Lake Mills a year ago, and it passed in the town of, or the village of Rockdale, and it passed in the town of Christiana this year and the village of Cambridge, but it did not pass in the village of, or the town of Oakland. So that's gonna be one of our topics, but we couldn't really have a meeting until all the board members have been sworn in, so I don't know exactly what's gonna happen there yet, but, so that's kinda up to date.
Excellent, thanks, Dave. Joint Rock Lake Committee report?
Susan was not able to be here. She did ask if I had read her email. Would you like to read it, or is it something you'd rather just read at another?
You can read it if you
Okay.
want to.
They gave a recommendation on preventing new aquatic invasive species from entering Rock Lake on January 22nd. We would like your input, meaning the boards, on that recommendation. When will we hear your thoughts on the protocol for managing the cleaning tools? Funding the manual for the citizens monitors, and whether the town would be willing to be the grantee on an AIS grant with the DNR, question mark. After your March meeting, we sent what you requested concerning the Sono Wake expansion, another option of ordinance language, survey results of public input, and revised timeline, as well as the required condition report. Let us know if there's anything else that you need. When will you decide to submit the ordinance language to the town's attorney or the DNR, question mark. While drafting the recommendation on the Magella Channel during our last meeting, we realized that we need legal guidance to clarify two issues. One, does one of our committee members have a conflict of interest since her property resides along the channel? Two, on a potentially contentious issue, what constitutes a vote which can be viewed by the public as well considered? We should have 5 members. If one member has a conflict of interest, how many can abstain before the vote is left to very few voices? Should we have both town and city members casting yes or a no vote? Question mark. Lastly, I went on tour of the Lake Ripley Beach Restoration Project with Eric Schreiner, the Grounds and Facilities Director of the City of Lake Mills, Marissa Ullman. She's with the Land and Water Conservation Department at the county, and 2 consultants involved with the project. Lake Ripley was looking to prevent runoff water from flowing directly into the lake, to filter that stormwater through multiple natural systems to allow sediment to settle, water to infiltrate, and bacteria to be bioremediated, and to cool that stormwater as well. Asphalt and concrete parking lots can increase rainwater temperature by 60 to 70 degrees, or more. Bacteria loves warm water, and frankly, our game fish don't. Lake Ripley has many similarities to Sandy Beach, even being cited by the DNR as an impaired beach due to E. coli. The Joint Rock Lake Committee is hoping that green infrastructure expertise utilized at Sandy Beach can be incorporated into the redesign of the Sandy Beach complex. It was more a lot of questions than a report.
Okay. Thanks, Robin, for reading that. Town Chairman report, city, county, and state communications. Only thing from the city is that they're hopefully going to make an appointment to the Joint Rock Lake Committee, their second appointment at their May meeting. Really no correspondence with the county. And at the state level, really the only communications I've had is with somebody with the BIL infrastructure grant, just asking questions. Report on roads and infrastructure funding. We did get reapproved for Rock Lake Road. Those of you that don't know, we already had an existing grant for that, but they delayed the building of the construction of the bridge on I-94. So it didn't really make sense to put a brand new road in and then have it all beat up while they're tearing a bridge out. So we ended up reapplying for the grant to get obviously extended time to get past bridge construction, which inevitably is almost a blessing because we didn't have the money anyway, hence why we asked tonight. Gives us a lot more time to plan. And so we did get approved for that. So we have a number of years before that has to be done, so that's the good news. And then we will be applying for phase 2 of the infrastructure grant, which is an 80-20 to replace Mud Lake Road. So that has to be in by June 3rd, and that's where we're at. We actually sent out our RFQs the other day to get that going, so we can get applications and things like that. It's been a circus because even people at the state don't know the program very well. So it's been a challenge, but we've had lots of wonderful help behind the scenes, especially at the county level. They've been great, and they have a great DOT. So that's my report. Extra ETZ committee, have any requests? Jim?
Nothing.
Nothing. Parks committee report. I don't think Jason's here, so I guess I can get it. So essentially, they approved to have the FFA do the volunteer work or make that recommendation to the town board. On April, they set a date of April 21st, but obviously weather's gonna play a role, and obviously the environmental factors right now are playing a role because it's been a very cold spring, and some of the things that are supposed to be growing aren't even up yet. So there may be a delay in that slightly. But thanks to the FFA for doing what they're going to do for the town of Lake Mills parks, if we approve it tonight. All right.
When the surveys are done, right?
Surveys are close to done. Yep. He's gotten delayed with weather too, and complicating factors on Ferry Park. It was, the original deed I think was from the 1940s, and even with a magnifying glass, you can't decipher some of the numbers on it. So we might be going through a process to make sure that we have that redone the correct way and updated in the near future.
But the FFA, they're only gonna work on the ones that are clearly marked, right?
Correct.
Otherwise.
Yep. And they're already temporarily marked.
Mm-hmm.
So even though he's not done, he was supposed to get done this week, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to know the property lines, for sure. All right, period of public comment. This is time for the public to come up and speak. Please keep it to 3 minutes.
And if you can, go up to the microphone and state your name, please.
Do you need me to register anywhere, or?
No, just state your name.
Okay. Hi, my name is Melissa Fearman. I'm a year-round city resident of Lake Mills and a year-round lake user. My address is 225 Circle Drive, Lake Mills. I'm here again to speak about the proposed change to the Sono Wake Ordinance. I know you have a very busy schedule tonight, so I'm not going to be long. I just want to make sure that the town board got the email I sent that has a letter, a spreadsheet, some pages from the Rock Lake Management Plan, and some information from Lake Ripley. Cool. Everything I wanted to share with you is in that information. I just ask again that you keep the current Sono Wake Ordinance and not make changes to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other public that would like to speak?
I'd like to speak on No Wake also. My name is Glenn Praber. Just wanted to share that I'm a retired professional firefighter who did a lot of water rescue. And looking at, I would like them to keep the no wake zone at 100 feet. I think that making it out to 200 feet is gonna put a lot of people at risk. Not only that, I would talk to the officer about how would you administer that. And so if we're looking out for the safety of those that are water skiing, I have a daughter that water skis, and tubes. I just think that it would be a very foolish move to make, and it would put this township at risk for a lawsuit if something did happen to somebody. And so, that's all I'd like to share tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. You got his name, Robin?
Yes,
No,
thank you.
okay.
I got it.
Any other public?
I would just like to ask a question.
Sure.
I was wondering on Elm Point Road, there's all kinds of flags for, like a sanitary sewer line, and I'm wondering if anything is going on there. And there was also some red flags by the boat landing. I'm just wondering if the sanitary sewer is still good.
The boat landing is being surveyed, so I can answer that one. The sewer, I can't answer. I'd have to ask the city.
So it's being surveyed for what purpose?
To know our boundaries for maintenance. We don't know our boundaries anymore, and we just, we're going through the process of putting together a volunteer waiver to garner volunteers to help clean our parks, keep our parks clean and free of invasive species, and do park improvements. That's being worked on by our newly formed Parks Committee. So that was one of their first recommendations, was to get the lots surveyed, because right now, even with our contractors, they don't even know where the property lines are, which I would think would be really important from a liability standpoint. So we want to get those clearly marked, so we know where those boundaries are and know, what is owned by the town. Because when you don't do that, people build on park property as well. And we are seeing some of that.
So the town has nothing to do with the sanitary sewer?
No, I would have to ask the city that, and I can do that for you. Any other of the public would like to speak? Okay. Applications. Discussion or decision of request made by Wayne and Donna Martin to create a 5-acre A3 zone around the existing home and buildings from an A1 zone at W9458 County Road B. PIN number 018-0713-0743-000. Are they here?
Yep, they're right there. Red coat.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
Looks pretty straightforward. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion?
Our plan is silent, our land use plan is silent on the number of acres in a farm consolidation. It refers to the counties, which allows up to 5. So that's why we approved it at the planning commission.
Okay.
Are you guys gonna continue to use the driveway? You're gonna put in a new one, I'm assuming?
We're going to use the same one,
Same one?
same driveway.
I don't have any questions. All right, can we get a motion to approve?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
Just need-
Sorry, yeah. Long day. All in
sneaking
favor,
it in.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously to approve the request made by Wayne and Donna Martin.
This will be signed then and sent to the county.
And I'll
Yep,
send copies
next
to
step.
you as well.
Robin, is that already on the county agenda?
That's up to you to contact the county and get on the agenda, but they'll know from the town that it's been approved when I'll scan it and email it over to them, and then I'll make a hard copy and mail it to you. Okay?
All right. Discussion and or decision of a special event permit for the University of Wisconsin's The Ride on September 25th, 2022, from 7 a.m. to 12 noon through the town of Lake Mills.
No, she asked to be postponed. She wasn't able
Till
to
May.
come
This is the
tonight.
one?
Right,
Okay.
this is the one that we're going to have to postpone for tonight.
Okay.
Was there anything else in her application that you see that's missing that you'd like to see before the next meeting?
Hers was pretty straightforward, actually, I thought.
Yep.
Okay.
This was a ride, yeah. No
The ride.
questions on the ride.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Believe Garrett might be here. He's back there,
Who's that?
okay.
The next one.
Oh, next one, okay. Discussion and or decision of special event permit for race day events for the Lake Mills Triathlon or June 5th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Now, I did provide you guys a copy of the safety plan that came after the application.
Yeah, that must have came today, because I didn't
Yeah.
see it.
That was on the table here tonight for you.
Yep,
Okay.
speed read.
The only question I had is, this, other years, the town of Lake Mills had a boat, the boat patrol was out there overseeing some of this, correct?
Right.
Yeah. You're gonna be doing that again this year?
We are certainly gonna try to have it staffed, that's correct.
The DNR was on the lake last year too, correct?
Yeah, we called them, Lake Mills EMS did.
And it might, I don't think it's in here.
Garrett, did you guys, why don't you come up to the microphone?
Yeah.
Did you guys submit the payment for this?
I submitted the payment request. I
Okay.
don't know where it is. Could be in the mail.
It's 500, this is over 700 people. It's over
Because
600 people.
did I provide you the invoice for this one from memory, or is that the one I'm thinking of?
Honestly, I can't.
We need to make
remember.
sure you check up
Yeah,
on that
I would
fee
say.
part. That needs to be taken care of before you get a signed copy.
Yep.
So,
The only question I had is on your maps, and we had quite the go-around last year with the triathlon group. Very unprepared for an event like this, especially on the water. A couple of comments, especially one that came from Alex Brooks from the DNR. We did, between both boats, and I don't remember who was who, pulled out 4 people out of the water last year. You guys have the kayakers out there, and I think there was 8 of them, or supposed to be 8 of them. Alex's comment was, the person in the kayak was wearing a life jacket, but they didn't have a life jacket for somebody that they'd be trying to rescue.
Life jacket?
And his,
We can
and his
totally do
comment, his comment was, you end up with 2 people in trouble when something like that happens, from a safety perspective, which also endangers inevitably law enforcement, you know, that's in the boats, when that rescue has to take place. The other aspect I didn't see was on the water, you had, in the bike route, you had everything nice labeled out with first aid stations, things like that. But you didn't have like anything positionally on the lake, like is where your spotters would be located. I didn't see that on your map. It was absolutely blank.
It's hard to position them exactly in one spot because they are moving kind of the entire time, and they're positioned throughout the entire quarter-mile section of the race. So if we get 6, we will have like 2 on each side and 2 along the top. 1 on the outside, 1 on the inside, just in case anybody needs to be pulled in or taken out to a boat to be saved or assisted. As far as the life jackets go, we can definitely put more life jackets on board, but I know that all of our lifeguards on kayaks have their own life jackets, and they have the lifeguard buoys, the stick things. So
He said they didn't have anything. He said all they had
should
was their
have
own
that.
life jacket on.
They will have that.
Yep.
But
So,
I will pass.
some type of life-saving device. Yeah, I mean, typically, I mean, a lot of times marshals, at least you have some that are stationary, because when kayaks are moving and people are moving, that's pretty hard to see stuff. I think I'd be really confused and really distracted on who is who swimming in the water if they were actually moving. Those are the big things that I picked apart. And then the last thing was, I know we had a big dilemma with the EMS last year. Like, they hadn't been called yet. I know you have it in the paperwork, but I just want to make sure that they've already been contacted and that they're agreeable that they're gonna participate in this.
Emailed them. I have not heard back. I'm assuming this is the EMS. Is your email still lmems@lmems.net or something?
Yes.
Well, I'll send you another email just in case. But yes, I have attempted to make contact with them. I also heard back from the sheriff, or Jefferson County Sheriff, and they are applying for positions as well.
Okay. I guess I would make that a condition that they make sure that they have that EMS lined up. It's important, that's very important.
We're not saying that a payment was made for that, so we need to figure out where that's at. It should be $500 because of the number of people that you have.
Dave,
What's that?
Dave has his hand up.
Yep.
I will say that we're not gonna be able to contribute quite as many people as we have been in the past, just because there just isn't enough people around. We are trying to meet with the fire department to see if they can give us a couple people for standby, but I'm just letting you know that we will not be able to.
Okay. And you had two, did you have 2 ambulances there last year? Was
We
that?
had 3.
You did have 3, okay. Well, no, which makes sense. I think you're correct on that.
You know, we had 3, we will probably only have 2 this year, and keep in mind that one is already all the way down at the beach, so it will
And
not
that
be
can't
able
get
to
out.
get out.
That can't get
And
out.
that's already dedicated, so that means we've got to leave something else out for the other surrounding communities yet, so it's gonna be tight.
I don't know. They had 3 last year. I think they should have 3 this year. I wouldn't go with any less. There's people spread out all over the place during this thing. So I guess that would be a condition, or a condition, on a recommendation I would
I'm
make.
not saying that it's out of it, I'm just saying that I don't know.
Right, it won't affect you either way if you guys,
Okay.
if you guys have it, you end up having it, that's fine. Otherwise, it's gonna be up to them to find another service.
I'm allowed to reach out to other surrounding communities, EMS, yes?
This is an
No?
independent event. What's that?
Did they ask Cambridge?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, I would say, I heard Cambridge was
Ryan
here.
Brothers.
Ryan Brothers, I don't think there's
All right.
anything stopping you from doing that.
All right, then I will reach out
This
to
is
more.
a completely separate event. I mean, it's its own.
I make a motion to approve the race day events contingent on them having 3 ambulances available.
And the fee.
And the fee being paid.
Thank you.
Seconded again, Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
We'll catch up with each other.
Discussion of operator's license for Crowville Oasis.
Are these late, or why are they,
I'm not sure.
are they just all new?
I think they're all new individual ones. Jeffrey had dropped them off, payments. He tends to have some turnover out there, so I'm assuming it's all new ones till the end of this season, and then they gotta renew.
Okay.
So by June meeting, we'll be reviewing them all again.
You have a chance to check these out at all?
I did. If there's the 3 that I talked to Robin about.
Yes.
Yes, I had a chance to do backgrounds on all 3 of them.
No problems?
Let them know when.
Well, I mean, nothing, I don't know what is a disqualifying thing. Are they 2, one of them has 4 prior OWI convictions, and one of them being a felony. The other one has just 1 prior. Again, I don't know what's a disqualifier for the, but as far as everything else goes, everything appears to be, they did their time and they did their debt to society, and got everything else is valid, so I'll mention that from what I see on the record.
Do you know
That's the only thing I saw though.
I think it has to be directly related to.
Like selling to a
Selling.
minor,
Right.
things like that?
Right, that's my understanding.
The four OWIs
That's concerning.
concerning, but
Yeah.
I guess the last one was 2014, the way I read her letter.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think it's a disqualifying for her to get a license based on that.
We're gonna approve one by one, or?
Yeah.
Yep, all right.
I guess so. I'll make a motion to approve the operator's license for Daniel Wilkin.
Second.
Danielle, or
Any
whatever.
other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the operator's license for Bobby Joyce Hockett.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
It's only a couple months before we have to renew it again.
That bothers, it concerns me.
I would, we should probably wait on this one. if we
Yeah,
can.
she did fill out her application correctly, and they answered your question. That's the first disqualifier if they do not answer their questions correctly. And she did. She circled yes. So.
Okay.
She's got on her thing here, application for pardon in progress. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither.
Does that mean she's going to appeal something? or-
And she's trying to get, I'm assuming, get that felony dropped.
Yeah.
I know from prior experience, that's really hard, especially with OWI convictions. Anybody can try. I didn't see anything active in the courts for that. Doesn't mean paperwork hasn't been filed, but.
I don't know. I have a problem with it.
I do too.
OWI is installing alcohol.
We could
that's
investigate
bad news.
a bit more on it to see what is a disqualifier before making a decision.
She can
Well, she-
tend bar as long as there is another licensed bartender on premises.
Correct.
She cannot be there alone without a
Yeah.
license. So I'm not gonna approve that one.
Yeah.
Do I have to make a motion?
We'll make, yeah,
No,
we'll
we
make,
can table it until we
If she
maybe
gets
know
a-
more information.
Yeah, if
too.
she gets a pardon, then she can come back.
to the May meeting, it's around the corner, so you just table it.
Okay.
That's what we should do.
I'll make a motion to table the application for bartender's license from Mackenzie Delber.
Second.
Any other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to table that one. All right. Old business, discussion and decision of waiver form for town volunteers. That went to legal, came back with his adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the waiver based on, with the correction, or amendments from municipal law.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed on the same sign. Motion carries unanimously to approve the town volunteer waiver. Discussion and our decision of contracting for drainage ditch work on Bridle Path Contes. I think we only got one estimate out of,
And Conte's had a conflict tonight, they weren't able to make it.
Corey's initial estimation was anywhere between like $4,000 and $6,000, and this is like 3 times that. So, I don't know if it's gonna solve the problem. I think that area is so low.
I don't think we can spend that kind of money.
I mean, we can wait and see if 2 other ones come in.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye to table. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to table. One of these days, we'll be able to get rid of that. Discussion or decision of Joint Rock Lake Committee recommendation for changing the slow no wake from the shoreline of Rock Lake from the current distance of 100 feet for motorized boats to 200 feet for jet skis to 200 feet for all boats and jet skis.
No, Susan, Trier had submitted this, just afternoon today, the conditional report, which you guys got a copy of on the table tonight, which is one of the criterias I think you're waiting for.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say a few things about this. This is a real touchy subject, obviously, between a lot of, several different parties, and some that obviously came in late in the game too, which unfortunately hadn't been contacted to participate in the actual process. So I'm kind of disappointed in that people weren't reached out to by that committee. You know, we specifically asked that they're weighing a whole situation, and to do that, you have to have people that fish at the table, you have to have people that recreate at the table. Secondly, we have zero data from our law enforcement that anybody ever made a phone call to report a slow no wake violation. We don't have it on record. And at the state level, when we heard from a DNR professional, all the accident data came outside of the slow no wake zone. There was none reported in the slow no wake zone statewide. So there's no data or evidence there to support that. So from a safety perspective, if all the accidents are occurring out of the slow no wake zone, to even if it's 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever it is, to push, take away another 22 acres on a busy lake, that could be unsafe, or and the data's already proven that at the state level. So I think you finally saw or got copied on an email of a comparable set of lakes over in Oconomowoc. So we got a report from an officer, Andrew, over there that handles the town of Oconomowoc Lake, who enters their lake patrol. They've had no violations in slow no wake, or no accidents in slow no wake. They also operate 8 a.m. I think on Okachi till sunset. So a lot of the lakes that were being referenced early on by the Joint Rock Lake Committee operate sunrise to sunset. So my other concern is this is going to domino into other things. So if we go through and are able to make a rule change on one item in this issue, is another group going to come and say, well, now we want to operate motorized craft sunrise to sunset. We want that rule changed. And then they also brought up the DNR professional and even the town of Oconomowoc Lake professional brought up that there are some lakes starting to look at the 300 foot for the wake boats. And so the last thing I want to see is to approve something and then all of a sudden now we got to start changing 2 and 3 other rules along with it when it's all kind of contiguous in the same issue. So that's what I'm really seeing here, and if you go and change the sunrise to sunset rule, you're going to upset the balance with fishermen. I can tell you that right now because I spent a lot of time down at the landings observing and whatnot, and they like their early mornings, and I would imagine the residents that live on the lake like their early mornings without disruption. So in hindsight, the original rule that was put into place by the board, which was consistent with state law, or some of it was years ago, is actually pretty good, I think. The shoreline evidence stuff, I mean, you can go to land conservation committees and there's a lot of cool things being done to shorelines to help protect against damage. If you've been out there on a windy day, and we just had a few of those in the past week, the wind is actually wreaking more havoc on the shoreline than the busiest day on the lake for boats, by a long shot. So, there's some other issues here I think that can be looked at to improve without having to go through a rule change. But that's my opinion. I don't think I'm going to be in favor of moving it to draft, just because there's no data. And until we can accumulate data, then maybe, we have to start looking at some of these things.
Can you explain what's expected if somebody does see a violation, how they should properly report it?
Yeah, proper reporting is not to the town chair.
Not to me.
No, it's actually a call law enforcement, and amazingly, during the week the lake it's relatively quiet throughout the summer, outside of some holiday weeks. On the weekends it's busy, different on the day depending on the weather. Law enforcement's out there every weekend, more or less. They're on the lake. So you can call them, and it helps them get to an area to help assess it.
And it's calling Jefferson County, who will dispatch.
Dispatch, correct.
Right.
Yep, to call Jefferson County, because they will dispatch, other than trying to call what would be eventually a new chief of police, to make sure that a dispatch is going through. So there's an actual report, and then there's a reporting process. So that's a correct way to do it. And that's how we help our law enforcement, because we did hear from several individuals that they didn't think things were being enforced properly. We want to put our law enforcement in a position to do their job to the best of their ability. And if they aren't called, they don't know. So that's what I have to say on that. I don't know if any of you said.
I think you're spot on, Tom, because over the last month or so, I've been getting a lot of questions. And most of them are people from out of town. They like the calmer water for skiing, and of course, the fishermen like the calm and quiet. So I think we really need to wait and hear more as people from out of town come in and voice their opinion. What I've been kind of telling everybody is you have to come to the town board meeting, or you have to wait until the public hearing, because it has to go through a public hearing.
Correct.
Which I'm sure we will definitely fill this room.
It won't be here.
No.
It'll have to be at City Hall.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Because you have city people that are gonna be.
Yeah, and
involved.
you will have a lot of people that
yeah.
will show up to it, I guarantee, especially in the summer.
Yep.
And just understand that public hearing would be part of the process if there's a draft of the
Correct.
ordinance approved, then it would go to public hearing and then down the line for approvals.
No discussion? Not you, you're fine.
Nope.
Okay.
Jim's been down this road.
All right, now listen carefully.
I understand everybody's concern,
Yep.
fishermen's concern. I mean, during the week, like you said, it's really calm out there. You see a bunch of fishermen out in the middle. Not too many water skiers during the week. Weekends, I stay away from the lake. I don't go near it. So, doesn't really, the wave action, that would be my only concern. And, like you said, it's windy all the time anyway. But. And with the zoning laws, I don't know, Marissa's here, but I thought she was. There's plenty of
She's way in the back.
zoning laws that.
With the orange hat.
Yeah.
There she is. That make you leave vegetation and all that stuff to protect the shoreline already. So there are a lot of laws that way. So if you guys want to make a motion to kill it, then do it.
Well, we'll listen carefully to the motion, because it's a positive motion
Right.
that they requested, and then, so can we get a motion to approve the Joint Rock Lake Committee's recommendation for changing the slow-no wake from the shoreline of Rock Lake from the current distance of 100 feet to 200 feet for jet skis to 200 feet for all boats and jet skis? All in favor, say aye.
Well,
All
No.
you have to have a
opposed?
motion first.
We need a
Oh.
motion, somebody make the motion,
sorry.
somebody needs the second.
Yeah, we need to make a motion, sorry. Told you it was a long day.
I'll make the motion of what Tom just had said.
Second.
Any other discussion? I'm not gonna live this one down, am I? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All,
Which is- No. Your
Slow down.
motion was positive.
Correct.
Correct.
is that an aye or no? All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion fails.
So 3 nays.
Yep,
3 nays.
3 nays.
Okay, discussion and or decision of Town Hall Facilities Committee's appointments. I didn't see any come in, but I've talked to a couple people, and one verbally committed, but we don't have an application yet,
No
I don't believe.
applications, yeah. We do have applications for appointments on the website, so.
So can we get a motion to continue to table that?
I'll make that motion.
If it's already on table, I don't think we need
Oh,
to
we don't.
continue.
Okay, all right. All right, moving on. Discussion or decision of electors' resolution to increase the town's tax levy.
We don't have to do that.
I don't think we have to do it. I think they did it.
Or do you?
I
do
think
have
we
to.
need to make the recommendation that we approve it in the fall when we're working on our
Yeah,
budget.
that's what it is. Yep,
Right.
yep, you're correct.
remember, put that on in budget.
Yeah.
So can we get a motion to approve the resolution of the town's tax levy in the fall?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of status of Lake Mills EMS services. I think our contract runs out in June, right?
Yeah. My only question is, we have not paid them anything yet.
We have yet to
Correct.
receive an
So-
invoice.
We've not even
So we
seen
need
it.
to receive an invoice, and then we'll pay, I think we budgeted the
Did you
15.
receive the letter
Yeah, but we didn't.
talking about the $15 per capita rate?
Yes.
Yeah,
that we
we-
received.
Okay.
It-
Basically, I don't really have any new news for you because we did have a meeting with the city a couple weeks ago. We have not heard anything back as of yet. We do know that there is a little bit of talk about us possibly trying to put something together, but that has not officially come to our table yet. So I'm basically here just to let you know.
So our contract is up in June, but according to this, what's that?
No, December 31st.
December 31st, and that was my question. You're gonna cover us until December
We're
31st.
covering you
The old contract. had
We
for
will
13
cover you
was June.
till December 31st, and even if it's after, we will cover until another vendor
Okay, all right.
comes through, and that is kind of where I thought that was pretty much stated in the,
Yeah, so, in my opinion, our best option, Director Dave, is to keep you guys in business. So what do we, as a township and as a group, have to do to keep you guys in business?
unfortunately, there have been issues with the per capita raise, not just from this municipality, but all of them, and until all of them want to do that, we can't pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah, you know, and I get that, because working with Cambridge and the paramedic service and all that, there is a big growth issue. I mean, your percentage of increase is huge when you have to go to a full-time service or when you step up in levels. So, have you guys sat down and figured out exactly what that per capita cost was gonna be, what your mileage cost was gonna be, what your run call money was gonna be, so that you guys can have a plan to put together so that we have an option to look at?
That changes that changes every year.
Yeah, I get it, because you got workman's comp, and then you're gonna have retirement, and then depending on what your wage scale is, but,
We have to have a
With
plan
healthcare
though.
being-
yeah, somebody, you know, either you're gonna have to do that, or the city's gonna have to do that, or the private service has already done that. So, are you guys, because I know there's one person that is doing the negotiation, and we have been pretty much, all the rest of the municipality's been left out of it. So we really don't know
Up
where
to
you're
this
at or what
point.
you're doing.
Yep,
Yeah, up to this point. And I don't feel that that is a correct way to operate, so, and, you know, my question is still, is what do we have to do as municipalities to keep you guys right where you're at to serve our electors? And they're sitting right here. This isn't all of them, but it's some of them.
That's understandable. And that,
They were just asking at the beginning.
Okay.
About what we had talked about at the beginning.
The city's negotiating.
with the
We're
city,
still,
they're
I just told them that.
certain-
I apologize for
way
showing
through
up
it.
late, but I just
Yeah,
got
but are
back.
we gonna agree with the negotiations of the city?
Right, we don't have to go with
Right,
the
right,
city law.
exactly. And I mean, and I know Steve is planning to come to our June meeting. And that'll be one of the topics.
Or four other mushrooms sitting in the dark.
But we haven't heard anything from these guys, and I don't know if they've
Right.
been to other townships promoting
Yeah.
the same thing.
I'm kinda waiting for 3
Yeah.
It
months.
isn't just your jurisdiction, so.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We get that.
Yeah, we've been negotiating through the city because that's the primary, the one, and, we do have a proposal out there that would merge us and the city.
As
And
a
that-
private entity, nonprofit, or a city department?
Be a city department is what we've been discussing. So then, most likely, you guys would end up having to negotiate with the city. Now, what we're trying to do is keep our pay structure the same so that it would keep the cost a lot lower, more in the $15–20 range rather than, if the fire department takes it over, we're probably looking at 2, 3, 4 times that, would be my guess. And that's kind of an estimate on our part so far.
So, and that would be a completely separate budget item from the fire service. So you'd have the fire service and then you'd have the EMS.
That was our proposal.
But we would still have to negotiate with the city.
With the city.
Correct.
In that case, correct.
Okay.
If it's even considered.
And we're trying to do this so we can get some of the trained EMS people from the fire department that can come and help us out. Our biggest problem is people.
Right, yeah, and again, in a lot of departments that are dual trained, if they're on EMS, they keep their turnout gear right in a compartment in the EMS, in the ambulance, so that they can, you know, at a moment's notice, flip-flop. So I don't know if you, Glenn, did you ever have that when you were?
I worked for the city of Wauwatosa, so we did both.
Yeah.
All our firemen were all EMS, and a portion of them were paramedics. And so we carried the firemen on the EMS rigs and the paramedic rigs carried their turnout gear on.
Right, yeah.
And we
So you guys
still-
giving that thought?
As far as having the fire people, well, if the fire people are, if one of them were to come with us, it's because we need them to run an EMS call. And so it kind of takes away the ability to just flip-flop back and forth. Because in my opinion, we have to keep the ambulance covered.
Correct.
And we can't just pull the ambulance crew off to go fight a fire and leave the ambulance there.
Right, the EMS would have to take priority.
Yeah.
All the
Well,
time.
I'm not saying this has to take priority, but we have to make sure that gets, that's covered.
Yeah. So how do we know where we're at?
How many proposals are on the table? Because I know there was more than one at a time.
He told you the other night he was gonna present you with 6, and I assume ours is one of them.
Okay.
It may be.
I didn't know if you were.
It would seem
if
like
you
it's
had
the
5
most
different ones
viable.
going on, or if it was. I didn't know if you had 5 different ones going on. It was still between the same group and they looked different, or if it was actually.
No, I think the only one we have right now is the latest one that we gave them. So we have one with the city,
Okay.
and that.
So
You know-
there's 6 proposals on the table, or 5 to 6
And
proposals
we're
on the
gonna see
table.
those in June?
He'll be presenting those, and they're also still negotiating right now with them.
Okay.
There are ways into it, and there's a percent they're still apart.
We're trying to keep to an agreement in principle on it, but there are a bunch of things that are gonna have to get negotiated.
So then, Tom, is that going to be a municipality group meeting, or is that gonna be individuals? Because it
Yeah.
really needs to be the municipality group, otherwise you're gonna have 5 different versions of
Right.
what's really gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm fighting for community. So I met with Ben at the county, and this was a little ways ago. And we discussed the big picture of community support between Cambridge, Lake Mills, Waterloo, Jefferson, and trying to incorporate something more sustainable where we don't have to have 1 million workers, 1 million paramedics, where we can keep costs down as a bigger communal effort. Because my point to him was, once it ends up at the city, yeah, how do you negotiate? I mean, it's your negotiating tactics, you know, who's gonna help us? Are you guys at the county gonna help us, or who's gonna help us? Because, you know, or are we just on our own? And I said, it does nobody any good to run, especially all the townships, to run in a bunch of different directions. and go with different people, because to me, that's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
If you look at what's going on statewide, EMSs are being incorporated in fire departments. That's happening at a pretty rampant rate. That's the direction it is going.
No, that's not quite. Exactly. Most of them are going into the city. They aren't necessarily all part of the fire departments.
No, that came out of my county
and-
meeting, so
even
I'm just.
Jefferson and Jefferson EMS are two separate departments yet. From our understanding, I believe Johnson Creek is that way.
Fort Atkinson's moving the direction that.
Fort Atkinson is going that direction
Yep.
at a pretty high price too.
Yeah, they're fast.
And that was kind of our attempt here, was to try to keep that cost down, because I don't like paying what it's gonna cost to have it go into the fire department.
Yeah, but we
with
can't
4 or 5
even
people
talk
either.
about costs, because we don't have costs on paper, so we don't have the proposals in front of us. I mean, you can say that it's gonna be tons more, but that may not even be true. So we have to wait till we actually see costs on paper, what this is
It's
actually.
gonna be quite a bit more. I know exactly what ours is.
But, you have to identify cost with what the actual proposal is too, because the level of service could be that much greater. So you can't just, it's not apples to apples, you gotta look at the whole picture.
Yeah. Well, you may be downgrading if the fire department takes over too, that's.
Yeah, and that, for me, that's a problem, because why should our electors settle for anything less than what we already have now?
I agree.
I mean,
I won't argue.
Well, we should evaluate what we have now first,
right, yeah.
because we have a lot of mutual aid calls in the township too.
Yeah.
So
And then that's true, you have mutual aid, but you don't want to use mutual aid if you're out of service. If you're busy on another call and you have to have mutual aid come in, that's one thing, but out of service,
Well,
that's a whole
the one thing I
nother.
want to go on the record is I've been on the service for 20 years, Dave's been here even a little longer. We can't ever remember us missing a primary call.
That's awesome.
We
That's
never
perfect.
have.
And there's
Yeah.
nobody else around here pretty much that can make that statement
Right.
either.
Yep.
And we, most of the time, get the second unit out also. And we've been as deep as 3 just recently. And stuff.
Well, I guess I wouldn't approve it. I mean, I won't approve anything until I see a business plan and what this proposal looks like, because I think it's foolish to,
Nobody's saying that.
it's
I wouldn't
foolish to
either.
approve anything without seeing
I would just
everything.
just want to caution you, and that was part of my notes here tonight, was to be real cautious when you start talking about countywide, because there's going to be winners and losers in that one. And we're one of the little players here, you guys particularly, in that. And most likely, this is going to be the area that loses. You still have to have enough people and enough ambulances to cover the county. So you're still going to be paying for people.
And I mean, Ben said that he did want to get everybody together in one room, and I think that's really important.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so, and I know the city has been in discussions at the county level as well, so, I think we're a ways away. I think the decision really is, looking at a decision that we have to make, is we have to get through this year.
Right.
I mean, the city of Lake Mills is going gung-ho, they're gonna have something in place in 2023, that's their goal, and I don't think they're looking back at that. At least that's very apparent to me, because they can't afford to. Nobody can afford to gamble right now. We have to have something in place for 2023.
Right. Yep.
So we have to get through. And, without seeing a business plan and knowing what kind of sustainability there is, according to the letter that you sent the town board and sent to other people, what's going on now is not sustainable. So, and,
Well, they're here for till December.
With a
Till
few more
December.
people, we could be.
so.
And it's,
I think if we pay, I mean, obviously we haven't been invoiced yet.
We need to be
We-
invoiced.
We need to
for
be
the
month
back
to month
that we
though.
haven't
Right.
received invoice for.
Well, we need to
Month.
pay back pay till January, because we haven't paid them anything.
Correct.
Which is $15 an hour is what they
Per capita.
requested, per capita, per capita.
Mhm.
Sorry.
annualized basis, so it's a 12th of 15.
Right, so if we paid,
Just don't want
we
anybody
paid
get
from
confused.
January to May, the $15 per capita, and then monthly after that.
But the contract you sent me, Robin, was from 2013. That was the last time a contract was sent, and the contract was up in June. And that contract would have been,
Automatically renewed
for $7 per capita. But wouldn't you do the 7 per capita till June, and then after that, then go month to,
No,
month
we
to
gave you notice that
15?
it was just gonna be
Yeah,
15,
they
and
gave us
everybody
notice.
else is paying us 15.
They sent us a letter.
Yeah, all the other municipalities are, so.
Are you guys 100% volunteer? Do you have part-time, paid on call?
I'm the only full-time, and then there's
We
three
have
other.
paid on premises people, 4 right
Four.
now.
Sent it.
And they're
Well, they
working
haven't-
varying anywhere from about 16 hours on average to full 40 to 48 hours.
That's it. It's just
We
a
have
letter.
a number
We didn't
of
approve
paid
price.
on-call people. We only have 2 people that are full volunteers anymore. And our paid people don't get a lot, but it's something.
Yeah, it's calling, right?
And it's pretty much what we have to do to
I need
get people
invoices
enticed
somehow.
to come and work with us.
Right, yeah, because your big bump is gonna come, it's gonna come in full-time people.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Correct.
when you have a big bump, you know, whatever level you're gonna go to is continues to bump up.
We're aware of it.
Then you're looking at, you know,
As in
state
budgeted
retirement
15,
and all that
We,
stuff.
we did
too,
approve a
so-
budget, but we didn't approve the cost.
Correct.
And then what do we do with this June contract? We have to void that first, right?
Automatically renews it when you read the contract. Unless you
Yeah, I don't know what the language
renegotiate.
says in the contract.
Well, it's a weak contract. It's a very loose
Yeah.
contract.
Right.
But my point being is, our current contract would have been in that June to June, not operated on the fiscal year. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Do we need to do something with that June contract? Do we void it out?
I think we've already given you notice that we didn't plan to renew it, so it's probably nothing you guys have to do to cancel it.
Right, yeah, because we got the 120-day notice.
Yeah.
And thanks for the follow-up letter, too. That was kind of comforting, so.
They explained, yeah. Yes. And we still will be around, and if need be, we'll be around after the first of the year. I don't know if this goes totally to the city. They were sounding like they may not be ready on the first of the year. And we've told them that we'll cover it until there's a adequate replacement. And personally, I'd like to see that be an AEMT level service, whoever takes that.
Because you guys are Ivy Tech now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
advanced
more
EMT.
commonly referred to as advanced EMT now,
Okay, all right.
and that they kind of changed the names on them.
And who are you guys using for your paramedic? Kate, or,
We've got 5,
Jefferson?
we've got agreements with 4 or 5 of them
okay,
around us.
Yeah,
It
it
depends
depends.
on which direction we're going.
Yeah.
gotcha. Somebody has to keep us in the loop.
No, we don't have an invoice yet, so do we need to approve tonight, or do we wait till we?
Well, we can make a motion to have them provide us with an invoice for the past January, February, March. February, March, April, May, 4 months?
Was this typically an annual payment?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Under the
So we wouldn't
circumstances,
typically see a bill till the end of this year.
they don't send us a bill. All we get is the letter
The
each year.
letter.
That's why we're asking for an invoice.
Yeah, we
because
should have an,
technically the
I mean,
town
probably
should
do
pay
it the right
out
way, we
without
should have an invoice,
Right.
not a letter.
Okay, you would like an invoice then for January through
June?
May or June? Or how would you like me to get it sent?
Through May.
Through May?
Well, yeah. And then-
Okay,
And then we'll do monthly after that. You'll have to invoice us monthly.
all right, that would be fine, and we can invoice it each month if you want us to.
Yes.
That's what you'd like? Okay, not a problem. And we appreciate you guys, getting caught up and that.
Appreciate it, I'm gonna ding you. It's about time you guys came in here.
Yeah.
Really. I've been looking for you every month, so. Try to keep her knitted together.
I didn't, we kind of missed last month, I apologize for that. And that was partially myself. And that,
So
We were here,
need
we
a
were
motion
here
to
last
do
week
that.
for the meeting.
Well, last week. Oh,
Yeah.
April always messes up a lot.
Because they filled it.
Oh, is it different because of
Oh,
the?
yeah.
Well, because of the election.
It's an ad.
yet? That's what I'm.
Yeah, every
Or
April.
do we
is
just wait
always-
till our May, wait till our May meeting,
Okay.
maybe we'll have it by then?
Thank you.
Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else we
Just
can
table it.
help with now?
Okay.
I think that's about it, huh, Tom?
Yeah, well, let's get a motion to table this till our May meeting.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table. So May.
Till May 2nd.
Any other
Then you'll have the
discussion?
invoice to us by then.
Right.
All in fa-
We'll get that out right away.
Yeah.
I sure you will.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to table.
Thank you for your time.
New business, discussion or decision of appointment of a new police chief for the town of Lake Mills. All I want to say is we interviewed 3 candidates. Wait till I get out. Clear out.
Yeah, let them settle out here.
Yeah, they went through it already.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's okay, Wayne, it passed. You're good to go.
Thumbs up. Okay, we interviewed 3 law enforcement officers for the new police chief position. Sergeant Kevin Miller, who serves on our town police currently. Sergeant Ryan Walters, that serves as Lake Patrol Sergeant on our town police department. And Alan Whitty, that has served with the town here, started about a year ago. All qualified candidates. I have nothing but great things to say about all the police officers, and I really appreciate them stepping forward, take a poke at this position. It's an important position. There was one candidate that stood out in my mind, at least, that definitely had solid leadership qualifications and experience. And so can we get a motion to appoint Alan Whitty as the new police chief, conditioned on getting approval from his full-time position, letter of support?
I'll make a motion to accept the appointment of Alan Whitty as police chief for town of Lake Mills, contingent on his present employer giving us a letter of approval.
Second.
City of Lake Mills.
Any other discussion?
You know, it was tough, you know, because each and every one of you come in with a expertise. Kevin, you know, been groomed for this spot, and Ryan, you're really very important on the lake patrol, because you know that. Alan, you get a little bit of a disfavor for me because I really don't know you that well. I know Ryan a little bit better because whenever we're out taking trees and he's out there, he's yelling at me because I don't have my safety vest on, but he goes and gets his broom and helps. So I think you guys all got a good team, but yeah. And it's not gonna be no secret, my vote went for Kevin, you know, so Rob and I'm gonna have a no vote.
Do you need a roll call vote, you think?
We will get to that in a second. Yeah, we have to any other further discussion.
No offense to anybody.
Well, I just feel Alan, they were all close. I like all you guys. The one that, why Alan stood out to me was these leadership abilities, or his leadership supervisory schooling that he's had and training. He's been on the force 18 years, and he's a lieutenant for the city of Lake Mills, and just stood out a little bit, just a smidge higher. That's it.
On the our radio, that you guys use, that comes from Jefferson County, right? Your dispatch, or who all can you hear?
Well, we're on the Jefferson County Police radio frequency, and depending on our radio set, we can hear other, like the city and other cities nearby, and
Sure.
Dane County and so on and so forth.
I don't know. It still comes down to conflict to me.
The only discussion I have is, one, yeah, it was a very difficult decision, maybe one of the toughest I've ever had to make. But what I would like the board to see and review at our May meeting is that the new police chief is given an allowable amount of time, 60 days, that is all-inclusive to the entire department, to come up with a vision and a plan for the department going forward. That'll include a little bit of community input, because I think it's really, really important. And I think communication and visibility is super important these days in policing, even in the township. It's really important, and I think when people see the law enforcement out there and they're waving at them and smiling at them and doing those things, I think that presence is huge to keep some of the things down where some of the complaints do come in with speeding and all the criminal activity that we have seen in Jefferson County. It kind of subdues that and keeps that down. So that's the only thing I have to say. It's that we put something in place that allows for all inclusivity to the department, because I have a deepest respect for all the law enforcement that work for the town. I think they're all very important, and they all have very important roles, and they're all great people. And I think they should be included in on writing that plan that would be board approved. So all in favor?
Well, you got a roll call vote. Rob will call the vote.
Oh, she'll call it, okay, good.
Chairperson Pico,
Aye.
Supervisor Schrader,
No.
Supervisor Hines.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion
Yep.
carries
Majority.
2-1.
Congratulations, sir. You want to stand up? Everybody can see who you are.
A lot of hard work coming down the pipeline.
Thanks for your military service too, by the way.
All right, moving on. Discussion or decision of appointments to the Town Plan Commission, Joint Rock Lake Committee, and Fire Commissions, and other various committees. I gotta find that sheet. There we are. Okay, we'll start at the top. We can do these one by one, correct?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Jim Batiste,
Can we-
Plan Commission.
Can we get I would like to reappoint Jim Batiste. Can we get a motion to reappoint Jim Batiste to a 2-year term on the Plan Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve a 2-year term for Jim Batiste on the Plan Commission.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the same sign, say nay. Motion carries unanimously to approve Jim.
Steve Zekoff did send an email a while back saying he would be on unless there was somebody replace him, so.
Nope, I don't think so. I don't think we received anything else, did we?
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve Steve Zekoff's, is it a 2-year too?
Yep,
Yep.
2-year
Yes.
term.
A 2-year term to the Plan Commission.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously to approve Steve.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the appointment for Jim Hines to the town board, or the Plan Commission for a 1-year term.
I'll second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstain.
Jim abstains. Motion carries 2-0-1. Okay, Joint Rock Lake Committee, 2-year term. This would be a 2-year term that came up. Currently, Susan Trier serves on that committee. We did receive another application from Trish Fullerton. I would like to appoint Trish Fullerton to the Joint Rock Lake Committee. Can I get a motion?
So, yeah, I'll make that motion, I guess.
Second.
Any other discussion? I'd like to hear, Tricia's here tonight, if she can just say a few words. If you want to come up and just say a few words on the board.
I know. My name is Trish Fullerton. I live on Shorewood Hills Road in Lake Mills. I've lived on the lake for about 11 years and in Lake Mills for probably close to 20. I have a business, Rock Lake Water Sports, so I'm very familiar with the lake. I've grown up water skiing. I'm a boat person, but I also do paddleboarding, kayaking, canoes, all that stuff. And I really would like to be a part of the committee because I'd like to help develop good processes for the committee and for the lake. And I'd also think I could provide some equal representation because I feel like it's underserved for, I think, for just the boating population. And I also think I would be a good person to do what's best for overall for everybody because it's not just for boaters. And I think I would be good at doing what's fair for all users of the lake. So.
Thanks, Trish. The only thing I have to say is I talked to great depth with Greg Waters, who's current city council president, at least until tonight. We'll see what happens. About this over the course of the year, and it was really addressing the committee as an entirety. And one of the things we talked about was making sure that we have a diverse committee in different areas represented from different spectrums. So fisheries, recreation, water skiing, motor sports, environmental, which has kind of been missing on that committee for a lot of years. So we're trying to work very hard to get back to that. It's always difficult when somebody does serve, and Susan served this past year. But it was also apparent to both of us that we do need good process to operate the right way, to be inclusive to all groups. It's very, very important, and we just sense that we needed to change, and that's all I have to say.
I just have one question. Have they, do the Joint Rock Lake Committee members get a packet of ethics?
Yes.
Open meetings, the same one you give to the Plan Commission?
Correct,
So
yeah.
they all have that?
Yeah,
Okay.
when we developed that packet, I went to, I think, the Plan Commission as well as the Joint Rock members at that time. They all received the same information when we developed that packet.
Okay, all right.
That would have addressed a lot of Susan's questions that she had in her email
Right.
tonight. So we're always thankful for anybody that serves, and we completely appreciate that, and thank Susan for her time.
I'll call the question.
Yeah.
All in favor to approve Trish Fullerton, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimous, 3-0. Congratulations, Trish. Get ready for work.
I'll be in touch with you, Tricia, to do the oath of office and give you the onboarding documents.
Yeah, that's
Last but not least, Lake Mills Fire Department Advisory Committee. I'd like to reappoint Dave Schrader, if he's willing to do it.
I guess. I love the box.
Make a motion to approve Dave Schrader to the Lake Mills Fire Department Advisory Committee for a one-year term.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstain.
Dave abstains. Motion carries 2-0-1. And that is the end of that. All right, discussion or decision of work to be done on lake buoys. Some of them are becoming very faded.
That's so small.
Yeah, which it's in an
It
email.
didn't
It's in an
print- yeah, it
email
didn't print
somewhere
well.
in really small print. See the attached quote for 1551.40.
Right.
Is the quotation.
So he's gonna purchase 5 new buoys and rewrap 5, correct? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
$1,551.40.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously to have the work done. Discussion or decision of tree removal at North End Boat Launch Area in partnership with Jefferson County Parks Department, use of Rock Lake funds for the removal. Kevin approached me on this, but I wanted to make sure that, one, that the DNR, because they have those stipulations, that they're okay with it. He made it sound like they are. It is like $5,000, I think, or something. It was a pretty high figure to have that done. These trees are located by the swing set and by the tunnel. So they're not really within probably the 75-foot zone.
Right.
However, we do collect boat launch fees, there's parking tickets and everything else that goes on. And that's probably, that is the heaviest used landing. If it's allowable to do, it's a sticky one because the county, I think, is continuing to try to get out of costs. And that's actually more park than it is actual the landing, except for the tunnel, because people come from the tunnel for the boat parking, but.
Did you get a response back from them, the state?
I didn't, he told me he sent one, but I don't remember.
No, it's not on here.
Seeing
The
that.
question is,
He didn't send
I've
that.
got the list of what we can use.
This is not gonna happen till next fall, so,
Okay.
So we got a little time to
yeah.
look into it.
so you're
more.
not looking for a motion tonight?
We don't
'Cause we don't have an
necessarily
answer.
need one, no, because it's too late. We're past April 15th and they're oaks and the trimming's gonna be
Okay.
done on that, so.
You gonna table?
So we can just
I'll make a motion to table that till fall.
Second.
Any other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries the table. Discussion or decision of FFA volunteers, town parks cleanup for April 21st, 2022. Luke called me back and the 21st and 28th worked for them. This was the recommendation that came, the 21st is the recommendation that came from the FFA. However, I scoured the parks and the garlic mustard is barely out of the ground. And I'm a little bit nervous. The 28th, we definitely would probably be way better off because we're gonna get some 70s this weekend and 60s and maybe all that stuff is gonna be up and we're gonna get a better job done on the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So if we can get and maybe this is just a broad motion because the weather, it's weather depending. So if a thunderstorm comes in and it's an all-day deal, they won't be able to do it. And it'll have to be a weather day, but just more allowing them to do it, I guess, and it's a supervised event.
So they have to sign this waiver first too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we accept the volunteer service from FFA contingent on signing the waiver to clean up the parks sometime when the weather's cooperating.
I will second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 3 votes. Discussion or decision of process and task list for clean boats, clean waters. This has never been officially approved.
It's never been created. This is the first we've ever actually laid out how the program's supposed to function between the town and the county and
Yeah.
the city and.
And so there was a big thing missing in this, and Robin caught, was the initial catcher of it, that the city was missing in the whole document. And obviously, 2 of the landings are on the city property. So this did get sent off to Steve Wilkie, Greg Waters. Greg Waters reviewed it, he's okay with it, as highlighted and written, because I think the city was added in as an addendum and the highlighted material.
Right.
Correct,
It
Robin?
is, the town, we have 2 application processes that go through for this program. One's the city's, one's the town. The town manages the entire thing. We just kind of tell the city, we need you to sign off on this. They're on board with that, but in this task list, they still need a voice or an entity within this task list. If it were to ever be split where they do their own grant processing, we do our own, I mean, it's just gonna be easier to separate the two.
Correct. So just more of a formality than anything, but to get it right.
Right, that way we have a plan, if as personnel changes, we know how this is supposed to work, so it's,
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the Clean Waters program duties and responsibilities.
Second.
Any other discussion? I have none.
this will need to go back to Patricia. Patricia started the draft, I tweaked it, and then we'll send this back to Patricia as our approved document,
Okay.
so.
All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion
But the
carries.
grant has been
3 votes to 0.
sent in
Yes.
for this
Yep.
year.
Yes,
correct?
this is sort of just cleaning up the,
And you do have the application for inspectors.
Yes.
On our website.
we do have it on the website.
Blurry vision.
I've not seen it.
Getting blurrier as the night goes on. Discussion and/or decision of sweeping of sand on Short Hills area. Yeah, it's outside, actually, the Short Hills area too.
Sweeping.
We have 2 different quotes for that. The only thing I'm gonna say about it, and I looked at it, me and Ron actually went out and drove a few roads for potholing and some things, and, there's a couple areas that the gutters are completely rotted out. We can't ever pothole them. We're gonna have to do a different cut and big segment replacement kind of thing. And one of them's on the big hill, and then there's another one in just up a little bit farther than that. But my concern is, because we haven't done this in the last couple of years, that sand is just continuing to sit there and that moisture is under the sand, and we can't afford to replace all the gutterways if they keep rotting out at that rate.
So if they cut that gutter out, then will the water stay on the road or run down the roadside?
No, he'd have to have the same pitch, or he would do it identical to.
Oh, okay, so there would be
Yeah.
cut it out and a repair.
And I remember him last year saying he couldn't even do that, but he's got a cutter and everything. He said he can do it, so.
Because some of those things were cut out on purpose to get.
Oh, no, this is rotted out.
Okay.
Like where people are biking and stuff, it's
Oh.
not good. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, big safety issue. So he gave us he bought Jefferson's street sweeper, so he can collect it and get rid of it.
Okay, so then that's the difference where
Yeah.
a forest, they're just gonna be sweeping it off and he's gonna be collecting it.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So those are the kind of the 2 different costs. I know they don't look
He's got a truck.
completely apples to apples, but just because he estimated the roads, but those were the roads that we saw were the worst out of all of them. And he said if it's less, it's less. If he's, it's just, it's
It
basically
wouldn't-
time.
It wouldn't exceed it though then, right?
No,
Okay.
not to
And he's
my
gonna
knowledge.
haul it all away.
It collects it, so yeah, it dumps it
Okay.
right on a dump truck, I guess, and everything.
Good.
Yeah.
We can try it out and reuse it next year.
Yeah, if it didn't have sticks.
I'll make a motion, well, that's great. I'll make a motion for Northwest Services to sweep, load, and haul away the sand and sediment on Sherwood Hills Road, East White Oak Lane, Sherwood Meadows, and Gallup Road subdivision. For not to exceed $1,412.
Second promotion. The only question I have is Elm Point. He didn't bid Elm Point?
No,
Forrest did?
yeah, no, he did not.
Okay.
It didn't look near as bad as
Alright.
these other ones. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the sand sweeping on the streets listed for that price. Discussion under decision of flyer that was distributed about invasive species cleanup in community by the Rock Lake Improvement Association, Jefferson County Land and Water. So just to give a little bit of quick background on this, it came in a utilities bill
From the city.
from the city, and it's a very broadly stated document that,
I didn't save the one we got, sorry.
has volunteers and stuff going into public places and parks, and doesn't really say where. But obviously, town residents got it. And then it also says you can dump at Bartles Beach, and Steve Wilkie has already confirmed via email to me that we are not, town residents are not allowed to dump at Bartles Beach, because they're very concerned about other things ending up there that they don't want. So again, I think it's just lack of planning, and we also have a park ordinance that anything dug or taken from a park or whatever has to be approved by the town board. So, and this was not an approved process. Now, obviously, the damage is already done. The intent was great. I'd love to see the volunteer efforts. But we also have to have the reminders that, you have to pay attention to our ordinances, and make sure that the town board is aware and that these things are getting approved. This could have been presented to our Parks Committee to start with, and then that recommendation could have came to, which would have been the correct route to do that.
Well, who
But it came
loosely,
from the Rock Lake Improvement Association, right? In Jefferson County. Land
Yeah,
and Water.
did they
Didn't
do
come
the-
from Joint Rock Lake Committee.
No.
Nope, Rock Lake
Okay,
Improvement.
so as a private organization, Rock Lake Improvement Association, they have nothing to do with us. We don't control them. So,
Right, but they would be violating an ordinance in our parks, because you can't dig anything out without town board approval.
right,
And they also said our town according to that, it came in town residents' mail and utilities bills that they can dump at Bartles Beach, and they can't, so we need to remove ourselves from liability on this, essentially through a motion.
oh. So the
So
motion,
liability should be on us, because we can't control it now. I can't
No, I
control
know.
somebody from going to the city and dumping tires and who knows what else, or digging stuff out of our parks and nobody's around and supervising it, and there's damage, and then we have to hold somebody, accountable for it, so. It's just unfortunate. I wish the process would have been done correctly, but
yeah, I understand that, but
the
I
city's
don't know
not
what-
happy, the city's not happy about it either.
yeah, how did it happen?
Well, a member from either party approached somebody, and it must have been on the Public Works Board. I don't have a name
Yeah, 'cause
yet.
they had the envelope stuff.
They're still investigating that, but they let it happen, and it went out. And so the city was not happy that didn't go through, some semblance of due process on their part. But I just want to make sure we're protected as a township and our residents, because if something happens to the city and it comes from somebody, whatever, we just want to make sure that we didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know what you're looking for as far as a motion or whatever.
Well, I think that they.
Or just a
the
public
pub-
announcement you just made.
Well, a motion would be asked to make the Rock Lake Improvement Association and Jefferson County Land and Water liable if there's any damages to our town parks.
That's your motion? You can make a motion.
It's a motion.
That's a motion, I'll
Yeah.
second it.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 3 votes to 0. Discussion or decision of insurance renewal.
It is what it is. I'll make a motion to
Financials, yep.
approve the contract with the Horton Group.
Yep.
Yep.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor,
Nope.
say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the insurance renewal. Discussion or decision of updates to Town Ordinance 6-1 Traffic Code.
Kevin took off. He helped put some of the language together.
This is Lee. Who helped us with this?
Kevin did,
Oh, Kevin. Okay. Because I know Lee sent an email.
yeah. We're updating to make sure it's all up to
So
date.
this is done, or does it have to go to our attorney?
It needs to go
To our attorney?
probably to our attorney, because Lee has not reviewed this. He's kind of
Okay.
done with that part of it.
So I make a motion that
Yep.
we send this on to the town's attorney for approval.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve. the update to send the town ordinance 6-1 traffic code to our municipal attorney. Discussion or decision of DNR sign replacements at various locations. We got contacted by the DNR. A couple locations are pretty worn out.
You would like to add that one statement as well as saying that motorized vehicles are allowed on the icebound waters according to ordinance 5-5 for the ones that I think are out by like Sandhill Station or.
Yeah, there are a couple of.
The only problem with that is that his original was to decrease the size of that sign.
Mhm.
Ordinance, state statute, that has to be 3 inches high.
Right.
There's no way to make that
Reduce
smaller.
it, right.
And if you do the other one that you want, motor vehicles on it, then you're gonna have to do another town ordinance 5-2 up here also, which is gonna get bigger. The other thing I have a problem with this sign is slow no wake. I don't know where that came from, but that's not even in that ordinance, 5-8. So it can't be on this sign. I don't know how they can get to a slow no wake anyway. You can only use an electric motor on those
Yeah,
things
yeah, I
if
was
you
gonna
have
say,
a
there's-
DNR handicap permit.
So you want to remove slow no wake?
Yeah, it's not in that ordinance.
Okay. And you do not want to add the statement of the 5-5 about the motorized vehicles
No,
and
I
things?
I don't, anyway, that's up to you guys.
No.
I would go
No.
against that. You can't get a car out on any of those lakes.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. You can, it's foot traffic only, I mean, getting back into those places.
And the signage size is going to have to stay the same because of requirements, right?
Yeah. As long as we're talking about this sign, we've got the other boat launch signs. Now that you're not gonna do the slow no wake ordinance, we
That
could
need to be
redo
updated.
them too, right?
Yes.
You could, but that's not on here tonight.
No.
We could do that in May.
Okay. For May.
Okay.
So there's, how many of these, there's
3, I think.
3? Oh, 3 or 4. There's one out on A here on,
Well, there's gonna be another one because one disappeared from Ellie in that windstorm. It's gone. It's the metal
away?
sign, it's completely gone. I don't know if somebody turned it in, I haven't had time to ask yet, so.
there must be one at Bean Lake. There's one out here on Mud Lake Road. There's one.
The one at Alley was fine until it blew off. It was, because it's brand new.
Right, that channel. There's one.
I
on
think that
road.
one's pretty good yet too.
Okay.
The brown ones seemed to, they held up really well. but
So
they
it's
were
just
also placed well,
the
too.
3 that he's listing here is the DNR
Okay.
parking lots at Mud Lake Road or Mud Lake Public Access, Sandhill Station Campground, Wildlife Area on the County Highway A and Bean Lake Wildlife Area.
We could just table this too and just do all the signs together, or maybe,
I think we should.
yeah.
So table this till May.
Can we get a motion to table?
Yeah, make a motion to table.
Any other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay, motion carries to table. DNR replacement signs. Discussion or decision of setting spring road tour date.
What are you looking at? Weekday, a weekend?
Well,
It's supposed to rain on Friday. I'm looking at Saturday, the 23rd at 8 o'clock.
I can't do Saturday.
Saturday.
I can't do Saturday. This,
You can't?
not this one.
Okay.
Monday mornings are best for me typically. 25th would work really good for me.
It's sunny that day, Dave.
Oh my gosh.
But it's rained at Sunday all day.
I know, yeah. Okay, Monday it is the 25th. Let's get it done.
What
sooner
time do you
than-
want to do it? Because it doesn't matter to me, I'm up early.
8 in the morning.
Yeah.
8 in the morning.
that's-
Or unless you wanna go earlier.
Yeah, that's fine for me.
I'm awake.
What time? 8 or earlier?
I would do 7.
7.
Okay.
7
Make a
a.m.
motion to hold the spring road tour the 25th of April it's beginning at 7 a.m.
Second.
I'll get that posted.
Any other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, motion carries to set that road date, April 25th, 7 a.m. Discussion of boundary agreement with the city of Lake Mills. I just want to get this on the floor, so we start addressing it.
Well, we made a motion in December 14th, 2021 to notify the city the town will not be renewing the agreement, and that passed. So that was a motion. So if you want to reopen this thing, you have to rescind that motion. I thought we had agreed we weren't gonna pursue it. I mean, that's December 14th.
So we're punting on it.
Well, what, yeah.
I mean, what's
You've been
left?
talking to
What's
the
left, yeah.
city, what did they say?
Well, they were working on it on their end, so,
You can resend it later if you have to, right?
yeah. Well, we can rescind it.
If
in
they
May
present
or
something
maybe-
to the town about it?
Pardon?
If the city presents something to the town about maybe renewing it, then the board can
Well, we
resend
can-
the other.
Yeah, and were they notified of that motion? I'm not sure.
That was the motion, to notify the city, that
Yeah.
the town.
Okay.
Just so they know that, but didn't
I don't
forget.
know, I made the motion, Dave seconded it, so to rescind that, you'd have to get me to agree to that, and I'm not going to. Dave,
There's your answer.
it's a dead issue.
Well, it was only on here for discussion, so.
So notify,
I will make sure
Send
I
them a
notify
letter.
them.
that's what the motion was.
Will do.
Discussion or decision of cleaning service for town hall. We haven't been able to,
Nobody stepped forward. I'm gonna try and contact Hout again to see if they would give us a quote.
I just don't, I think we're gonna have a hard time finding people who give quotes.
Hardest thing is finding somebody that's got insurance to cover, because we do
That's the other issue.
Well, maybe.
I can tell it was a lot of work cleaning this before the election and then setting up for an election.
Robin,
did
what if
need.
we hired them as a part-time
Yeah.
employee?
That's fine, then they're covered under our insurance, but you have to come up with an hourly rate. And probably some parameters of how long you expect them to be working at this each time and how often.
Mhm.
Put it on the agenda for May to determine an hourly rate
Okay,
for a part-time person.
so we'll table
Okay.
that.
Because they would be covered under our workman's comp and all that stuff. 'Cause that's
That
kind
makes
of a
sense,
blanket
yeah.
rate.
Yep,
Correct.
absolutely. Can we get a motion to table that?
I'll make a motion to table until May.
Second.
Other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries, table. Discussion or decision of increasing the funds for pothole repair. So I think we initially approved $5,000. Potholes really blew up in the month of
Oh,
March.
Mhm.
boy, sure did.
Ron has not done any, right?
Nobody's open. They started making 3/4, but not 3/8, I think, and that's what he needs for the potholes to get it to work. And it's been too wet.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do wet potholes, it doesn't bind. So the combo of two, unfortunately, we would have had them done early this year if the weather cooperated and these places were open.
Right,
Asphalt
yeah.
places were open. So he is not, but we're first on the list. So I knew right away, I mean, when we drove around, that 5,000 is not gonna be enough. We spent 10, I think, total last year, or around 10.
Yeah, it's ugly.
And last year wasn't that bad.
No.
So I've been mapping things out for him, so he's got, and Short Hills is really bad. I mean, it's one of the worst, and Shore Acres, or not Shore Acres, North Shore. So those are priorities, and then some of the other stuff isn't quite as bad. There's a few on Britsky, and London didn't have much up that way.
So what do we want, another 5?
I would say at least go that, and, you know,
And then he should talk to us, if we do not exceed 10,000, then he should then talk to us if he's
correct,
running short and still has some, because we can't stop, they have to be done.
correct. Yep. So we just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to that we increase the not to exceed another $5,000 for a total of $10,000 to Northwest Services for pothole repair.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimous to increase those funds. Correspondence.
You wanna explain what this is? No.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we got this from an elected official in Vilas County, essentially, I can read it. It says, enclosed with this letter, you'll find a resolution that Vilas County has sent to all our elected officials, including our governor. With rising inflation, the rising cost of energy, and the competition for labor from private sector, it's becoming harder and harder to keep a budget with a current levy in place on all of us to manage our cities, towns, townships that we are all responsible for. If you agree, please join Vilas County in protesting our current levy limits. As you can see from our enclosed resolutions, we are not asking for an ability to spend at will. We are asking for the ability to pay our bills and retain our people. Your assistance is greatly appreciated. Jerry Burkett, Vice Chair, Vilas County. And he's got a proclamation here. You want me to read the whole thing?
No.
I've been here for a while, I do.
I'll move on to what I have. I have correspondence from the Wisconsin Historical Society. I had sent notice to them that we had a lot of old tax assessment rolls in storage, and I went through them and offered them to the state, which is what's required. They do not want them, so we can destroy them. There's a shred day coming up at the Bank of Lake Mills, so I'll get them ready to do that. So we just saved a whole lot of space in our storage closet.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I'll keep this on file of what was destroyed.
Okay. Any other correspondence or is that anything else?
Did you want this put on for May, or did you,
Yeah, we can, yeah.
or,
Discuss and decide so we can get it out of the way.
what they do on these, usually in the fall of the year, the towns association, you go to the county unit chairpersons, if you have any resolutions, you can present them at that time, and then they take them to the convention, and they get their, if they pass, they get their lobbyists to work on them.
Sure.
I think that's a better route than
Okay.
everybody sending. So if we want to.
Individual letters, yeah.
Yeah. If we want to do that, then we could put it on May's agenda and make that motion to
Send it to the towns.
send it to the Towns Association, or
Yep.
through that process.
Through that process, yeah. Okay.
And I'd be happy to present it to them, so. There's a meeting, they have a meeting coming up, you should all got a letter on that.
Yeah.
26th.
26th at 7 o'clock.
Unit meeting. Yeah, April 26th and 7 at
Yeah.
Waterloo Town Hall.
Okay, meeting scheduled, May 3rd, 2022, Plan Commission meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. May 5th, 2022, Parks Committee meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. May 10th, 2022, Town Board meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. May 12th, 2022, Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 PM at City Hall. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Meeting adjourned.